Hi, I'm John Launius, president of Vidzu Media, part of the Nitrous Effect collective of companies, and welcome to the Leadership Factor. We've been interviewing leaders from across the country and around the world, and those interviews have been on our Leadership Factor page on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. We're broadcasting live from downtown St. Louis at the Nitrous Effect collective of companies headquarters, and we've gotten a lot of feedback. Some of our interviews have been sent out over those pages. Some of them have been private based on some of the communications with our leaders that we've been interviewing, but the feedback has been great. Thank you so much. People said, John, smile more. You're a funny guy. Be more animated. These are tough times. And so I've taken the coaching. I promise not to be so stoic as you may have seen earlier, but I'm very excited to have the people that are responding to this, the leaders that are all across the country and in St. Louis. Right now joining me is Paul Woodruff. He is the executive director of the Prosperity Connection. Paul, welcome to the Leadership Factor.
Thank you very much, John. Good to be here.
So for those who don't know, what is the Prosperity Connection?
Sure. Prosperity Connection is a 501c3 nonprofit. We've been around for 10 years, and what we do is pretty basic. We offer folks access to free one-on-one financial coaching, one time, a dozen times, doesn't matter. Second thing we do is we have a lot of free classes on home buying, credit building, budgeting, things like that. And then third, we have a loan fund that operates to be able to provide alternatives to predatory payday loans. So trying to save people money when they're in a pinch and give them the education and access that they need to manage their dollars.
Paul, that's excellent. Thank you for that. So for families that may be facing some financial hardship over the next couple of months, what is your coaching there?
Yeah, so we're doing a number of things. So number one is just know that there's a lot of resources out there. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. What I would say is that going through resources like the United Way, certainly if you're in St. Louis, like organizations like Prosperity Connection, just have some level of discernment. But the biggest thing that you need to do right now is to take stock of what your expenses are, what your income is. If you've been furloughed or you've lost your job, obviously that's going to be a little bit harder, but really understanding what your existing expenses are and then figuring out where you can prioritize. So if you've got a gym membership that obviously you're not going to be able to use anymore, see if you can get a stay on that for a couple of months. The other big thing that I would say is that for folks that have car loans, that have got mortgages, that have got other loans, the key is communicate. Talk with your bank, talk with your credit union, let them know what's going on. Many of these institutions, if not all, have put into place special programs to be able to defer payments, to be able to limit the amount of interest that accrues, things like that. You're not going to be able to access those though if you don't reach out. So I would say don't freak out. We're all going to get through this, but you really do need to communicate, take stock of what money you've got, what expenses you have, and then start making some strategic decisions.
Excellent, Paul. So if I'm looking, so let's talk about scams for a minute. I noticed in my own experience since Monday, I've counted at least 16 scam calls and emails. What's your coaching around that for families?
Sure. We are getting tons of emails, me included. Some of the most important ones that you need to pay attention to are messages that are either coming from your financial institution or that look like they're coming from your financial institution. So just a really quick thing to keep in mind every time you're looking at these messages. If an organization, especially a bank or credit union, is asking you to respond back with your social security number, with your account number, or with any information that they should already have, consider that suspect. They may be reaching out to you and need information from you, but what I would do is I would go to their website, I would call their primary number and verify that through there. The other thing I would say is just be mindful. There are a lot of people that are calling into their financial institution. There's a lot of people that are worried about things. So if the call time is a while, just be patient. You want to make sure that your finances are good. And if there is a legitimate request that you're just not sure is legitimate or not, it's better that you call and ask and be safer.
That's great, Paul. Thank you. All right. And then briefly, where can people turn for education and strategies to manage their financial health?
Sure. In the St. Louis area, if you go to www.prosperityconnection.org or go to our Facebook page, we've got a lot of free content that's going to be rolling out. Folks that live in the St. Louis area can call in and talk with a financial coach for free just to kind of chat through some things. But I think outside of our organization, the United Way in St. Louis, as well as other municipalities across the country, is a great resource. Call 211. You get connected with folks that can direct you to a large number of services that can help you with a variety of things that you might be experiencing. But remember to communicate, be patient, be calm, and we're going to get through this.
Paul, I am grateful to you for the time today. Paul Woodruff, Executive Director of the Prosperity Connection. Do you have a favorite quote or a word of inspiration to leave us with?
I always say to my team, teamwork makes the dream work. And while that may be contextual to the work that I do on any given day, I think teamwork is going to be what's going to make our community survive and thrive. So remember, folks, teamwork makes the dream work.
Awesome. Paul Woodruff, thank you very much for joining me. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you.
All right. So all these interviews, everything you're hearing from these leaders, you're going to get that from the Leadership Factor. You're going to get tips. You're going to get insight into actions that you can be taking that you may not be thinking about, that you might be thinking about very soon. So you can get our interviews on Leadership Factor on Facebook, also at our YouTube channel, Leadership Factor. When you talk about words of wisdom, I think it's okay to be funny sometimes, and I want to leave you with a great quote that I just saw on Facebook from my friend comedian Greg Warren. He said, it's rough out there, but somewhere, someone out there has to teach middle school band over the internet. So I hope you still join us. Come back for some more Leadership Factor, more leaders are on the way. Thank you very much. I'm John Launius, President of Vidzu Media. We'll be back very soon.